This podcast contains mature and adult themes and is not suitable for children. Listener discretion is advised.
She gave me a 5-year contract that we would have to renew after 5 years, which we did.
Oh, really?
Yes, we did. It was a very basic contract.
Talking about controlling.
Not controlling, it's her way out.
Right.
She's like, I'm not sure. I need to know that I have a way.
No, I believe that every 5 years, or depending on what your threshold is, every couple should come to the table and discuss, like, is it still worth going on?
Very civilized.
So
Like,
you-
a,
And then-
like a government 5-year plan now.
Correct.
Are we doing okay? Is it
Are
time
we
to
doing-
reshuffle the
it's
cabinet?
a health. It's a health check.
Yeah, you can see why I wouldn't expect a ring, right? I would expect a contract, but not a ring.
Hello and welcome to today's episode on a subject which is very much in the news currently, same-sex marriages. Shock, horror, blasphemy. Many petitions have been filed and the matter keeps moving between our esteemed courts. So finally we're told that these bench hearings are going to keep happening and the Supreme Court is going to keep looking into it. So either you're going to be still battling the loopholes that are created for queer people in relationships, or you're going to be feverishly planning your own pink wedding, or you're sitting there and bemoaning the fact that marriages or not, you're still single. So joining us in the studio is the very articulate entrepreneur, dog parent and newly wedded Anuja Parikh. Anuja has worked in retail and with the LGBTQI plus community extensively. And we also have with us Anuja's partner, Rupa Sengupta, who has also worked in retail for many years as a senior buyer and designer before moving on to the pet space. She's also a canine trainer, amazing, and nutritionist, and conceptualized the modern tale which the pair run together a few years ago. Tale as in doggy tail,
Correct.
waggy tail, not story tale. In December 2022, Anuja and Rupa got married in a gorgeous customized ceremony in Goa with their closest family and friends, but more from them on this. So, hello Anuja and Rupa, thank you for coming in for a chat.
Hi, Ashish. We're happy to be here.
Hi, Ashish. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So big rainbow congratulations to both of you for your gorgeous wedding. I've been stalking common friends and getting little peeps here and there. And I feel very grandmotherly and I keep sighing like how beautiful, modern, intimate it all looks. It really makes me want to get married. And this podcast is probably my last hope. Okay, so my first question, logistics. How do you introduce each other?
Most places we introduce each other as my partner, but now that we run a company together,
It's very
Eh,
confusing for a lot of people.
yes, it comes across as business partner. So now we are also, it's new to us, we are also practicing calling each other's wives. That's my
Yeah.
wife.
I personally do still prefer partner because it's fluid in that sense, but then I don't think people quite understand the gravity of our relationship.
Yeah.
So then I feel the need to use the word wife. But in terms of semantics, I'm still getting used to converting from partner to wife, and I think that is like,
I mean,
More
it's fun
difficult for
to say it in front of other like uncles and aunts who just,
For the shock value.
yeah.
Yeah.
They just look at us, they're like, oh, your friend. I said, no, wife. And they go like, good, congratulations. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Nice. Yeah, my
Thank you.
partner. Bed partner.
exactly.
Now, though my wife also has it's a bit feudal and patriarchal, but it also has a...
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it definitely is a little patriarchal, and we've had many conversations within us. And I'm usually the one to say I don't like using the term wife because it feels so patriarchal to me. But then again, like I said, for new people, for them to take us to understand how important this relationship is to me, unfortunately, the only term that I have at this point in time is to use wife and wife for each other, because partner just kind of is Could be anything.
Too generic.
Yeah, and too generic.
Yeah.
And also, like, there's a lot of people that look at me for some reason and don't quite get that I'm lesbian. So when I say partner, they're just like, oh, okay, cool. And make any assumption in their head. And that's also kind of a way for me to put forward that, hi, I'm a big fat lesbian over here.
A small petite lesbian you are.
Hi, small petite.
So I'm guessing your commitment to each other came much sooner than thoughts of marriage in India, right?
Yeah. I mean, for the longest time, our thought process was very different 7 years ago than where it was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. So
Right.
when we first started dating, I had always envisioned a partner with whom I would like to do a wedding ceremony. If not legal or not legal was secondary, obviously, because that's not in my hands. But Rupa came from the opposite perspective.
Yeah.
She was a little apprehensive of commitment. Marriage was a big no-no. I was just like, you know what? Wedding ceremony secondary. I have this person in my life. That's all that matters. Fuck it. Just be happy. It's
Yeah.
all good. And she had the opposite journey where she was the one who turned around and essentially
Yeah.
wanted to have a wedding and asked me to spend the rest of my life with her.
Yeah, I actually
Not-
didn't say that let's get married, but I said, do you want to spend the rest of your life with me?
Do you think that's a part of your commitment issues?
Possibly.
So there was evolution from both sides.
There was evolution on both
Yeah.
sides. Yeah.
How fab.
Yeah, and I think that's actually what it takes in a relationship. Trust me, it's been hard 7 years together. At the base of everything that's been difficult, the fact is that there's been commitment. And
So hard in terms of?
making everyday life work, right? We have the family acceptance, we have
Which
love
is
around us,
amazing.
we have great friends, we have all of that. But you ask anyone, gay, straight, trans, bi, non-conforming, all relationships are a lot of work.
Of course.
To make sure the other person feels comfortable, feels equal, feels like they have enough power in the relationship. There's many dynamics that are going on that don't have anything to do with your sexual orientation.
And when there's no script
Correct.
for us
Correct.
to follow.
Yeah. So for us, there is no blueprint to follow, right? There is no, it's not like a butch femme relationship or any kind of dynamics which works for some people. For us, it was very, it started as let's go with the flow kind. And slowly, like things started feeling different because we started living together and it was her house. And I would feel like, oh, should I move this or should I not?
Right.
Should I do this? Should I not? And like we had to navigate all of those conversations. And it's not that we didn't fight, like we fought. And we would then every time come back and have a conversation and be like, should we work this out? And we would always be like, yes, let's work it out. Because
Great.
it is going to be difficult with whoever we, decide.
Yes.
And fundamentally, we respect each other, we love each other. If those things are there, then all these like who is going to order what and why is this here can still be resolved.
Yeah, it's small.
yeah,
stuff.
I mean, in a heterosexual, very gendered relationship, there are gender roles, right? And someone asked us, how do you divide the responsibilities in the work? Because, I mean, even today, there are other families where there are father raising the children and a mother's working. It's there, but people still view everything as gendered roles. So every time we get asked this question, the answer is, which one do you find least boring? You do that. The one that I find least boring, I'll go do that. And that's literally how chores get divided in our household.
Right.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I totally get you that
Yeah.
the actual day-to-day of negotiating and navigating a queer relationship is not that easy in our setup.
Yeah. And when you start, you're still trying to impress the other person. So for a few years, it was all very nice and like, oh, I'll move this. It's fine. It's okay. After like 3 years later, it's like, why is this still here?
Don't touch my bed. Don't touch my stuff.
Yeah. So we had to go through all of those things to reach to a point like she knows my boundaries, I know her boundaries. So we work around it.
Which is great. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like fully like inside I'm bubbling over.
No,
with-
it's not that rosy. We still cross each other's boundaries on many times on a daily basis, but we work it out. But you know what I mean? It takes time to arrive at where your relationship
Right.
is. And
Yeah,
it's
sure.
ever evolving. I'd like to add, when Rupa and me first started dating, she gave me a 5-year contract that we would have to renew after 5 years, which we did.
Oh, really?
Yes, we did. It was a very basic contract.
Talking about controlling.
She's like, I'm not sure. I need to know that I've
No, I believe that every 5 years, or depending on what your threshold is, every couple should come to the table and discuss, like, is it still worth going on?
Very civilized. Like,
So
a
and then-
like a government 5-year plan now.
Correct.
Are we doing okay? Is it
Are
time
we
to
doing?
reshuffle
Yeah,
the cabinet?
it's a health check.
Yeah, you can see why I wouldn't expect a ring, right? I would expect a contract, but not a ring.
So actually, strangely, but historically, the fact seem very different from what we think. The Vedic system has actually always recognized homosexual unions.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's a book called Tritya Prakriti, People of the Third Sex, written by Amara Das Wilhelm, which has looked into a lot of research from ancient and medieval Sanskrit texts and stuff. And it proves that homosexuals and the third gender were very accepted, actually. Citing from the chapter Purushayita in the Kama Sutra, in 2nd century ancient India, the book mentions that lesbians were called Swarinis. Namaste, Swarinis.
Thank you.
Sounds like warriors.
Yeah, but that's quite lovely. It's all quite Wakanda.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
No?
is.
Yeah.
So they were accepted. They married other women and raised children together. How beautiful. They were accepted both within the third gender community and by ordinary society. Then, now here, unfortunately, my research got a little sad because it said that the book further made mention of gay men or klebas. Namaskar, myself, kleba, which could refer to impotent men. And I was like, huh? Here we go. And represented mostly men who were impotent with women due to their homosexual tendencies. Yeah, well, obviously. Nah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Kama Sutra's homosexual man could either be effeminate or masculine, while they were known to be involved in relationships of a frivolous nature, which means
Free sex everywhere.
frottage in the park, yeah, basically. They were also known to marry. And the book further mentions that there were 8 different kinds of marriages that existed under the Vedic system. And out of those, a homosexual marriage was classified under the Gandharva or celestial variety, which was a union of love and cohabitation without the need of parental approval. Cue heavenly Santur music. So what are your Swarini thoughts on all this? Considering we keep getting told that Western concept, and
Yeah.
Western homo.
Yeah, so this is something that we also read, because when we decide to get married, she's like, how do you think the ceremony is going to be? I said, we can't do the Catholic kind of ceremony because we are both like Hindus and we are not religious.
Right.
But it's still,
It's
that
what
is
we
not,
identified with most.
yeah,
was
that was not
Hindu
a
rituals.
familiar like space for us.
Sure.
And so if we are going to do a Hindu kind of wedding, then what? We went back and forth like Gujarati style or a Bengali style, or like, what do we do? And I was like, okay, let's say the things that we actually like from all our traditions. And then we had to go online and
So
read
we
about
went,
it and like,
we did many months
Yeah.
of research on what are the different types of marriage ceremonies that take place in this country. Everything from north to south to Vedic to Gandharva. We went
Yeah.
through everything.
Oh, fantastic.
And also keeping in mind her Bengali background and my Gujarati background, we kind of pieced, and a lot of Ruth Vanita. I think she
Yeah.
was
Yes.
a big person we looked at the time, to understand the history of marriages in India. And that's actually, I think, where you get a lot of information. And so we put together various different rituals that had meaning to us, that resonated with us, and respected the planet, the solar system, the gods, the various gods
How
that we each individually believe in.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And we also kept a few Gujarati traditions and a few Bengali traditions to kind
Yes.
of complete all of it. So
and we completely removed the fairas, because every time we thought of doing a faira, we had these conversations with so we found a female priest
Right, yes.
for us to, get married. And we were very, adamant about that. I was like, we only want female priests.
Great.
And we contacted many of them and like finally shortlisted on one
Yes, because
person.
nothing says feminism like a pot-bellied Indian
Yeah.
pundit sitting
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Bigger
no,
breasts than yours.
and then while we were discussing all of this, we realized that Fera will always become like a man will go first and the women will follow.
Right.
I was like, there is no man here.
And there's no following.
There's no following.
Much
So
to
how do we
Anuja's
how do we do this? Because the main marriage is when you do the Feras.
Right.
And that's when we actually went back and read and realized that the main marriage is something called Saptapadi, which is like 7 steps that you
Right.
take,
Yeah.
or 7 promises. What do you make? So we removed Feras and everything. We removed Kanyadan.
Of course, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so pretty much parents didn't have much to do there because it technically took
Waving.
away a lot of things
Yeah,
that
waving from the audience.
No, they were there with
No, they were
us.
on stage with us. It's
Lovely.
important,
Yeah,
like,
of course.
they're part of this journey as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is beautiful. I think it's really lovely that you all researched and actually
Yeah.
tried to keep your traditions, your own communities, what you grew up with, all that. It's amazing.
Yeah, we
I
did.
mean,
we did
it's
the whole
important.
Bengali ululation.
Oh, you all
also.
did, huh? And what was the Gujarati contribution? Theplas for everyone. Yeah.
Something along those lines, but
When we entered, your mother did that thing, na? There was a clay pot.
that we had to step on.
That
Yeah.
you step on and
Before
break,
you-
and then you
just
start.
as you get on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And both of you did it.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
traditionally the
Bride. Or
bride.
So we both did that,
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
and we
So-
did the Saptapadi with our 7 promises
As vows to each
as
other.
well to
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah. So it was a nice DIY.
And a 3-hour
Traditional,
ceremony came
spiritual.
down to like 1 hour, not even.
Not even 30 to 45 minutes.
Oh, very considerate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, super. So once you both decided to marry, there are lots of stupid questions that I
Go
still
for
want
it.
to ask. What were the immediate obstacles that came up when you all said, okay, we're going to do a ceremony, we're going to commit? Obviously, there must have been like, oh God, logistically, legally. What were the,
I mean, legally, there was no choice, right?
there were no options.
There were no options. That we knew from the beginning, so that's kind of out the window. Logistically, also, like I said, this may not be the story for everyone, but we were very lucky with many things. We've been very privileged.
I
with
also
many things.
feel that world has changed.
Thank
where
God.
because we went to a couple of properties. Our concern was not that it's a queer wedding. Our concern was we need our pets there.
Yeah.
So the thing we needed to actually think of and select was a
Pet-friendly
venue. Venue. And apart from that, none of these venues said anything about a queer wedding. They all
it was a
congratulated
concern.
us.
We were concerned that we would have
Yeah.
to put it out there and then face whatever they said to us. But, I mean, let me be a little bit pompous. At the end of the day, I was telling Rupa this, that when I walk into a venue and I tell them that I want to have a wedding here of this size, you know exactly how much money I'm going to drop.
Right.
And trust me, this is India. When they know how much money you're going to drop, they will bend their ways to cater to you. That's the unfortunate truth. But having said that, all of the venues were very hospitable.
Yeah.
They were very friendly.
Knowing that it was a queer.
Yes, knowing
that
there
they
was
were-
not an eyelid that was batted at us. No
Amazing.
questions asked, nothing.
Yeah, and the minute we walked in to speak to them, they all congratulated us. It was like any other couple's wedding
that's
that they
amazing.
did
Yeah.
with.
And funny enough, the venue we landed at was the Alila Diva,
Yeah.
Which is gorgeous.
which is gorgeous. And funny enough, we got the story from the owner later that when they first opened, the first booking they got for a wedding was actually a lesbian couple. So that's their history. So they were more than happy to have this happen once again.
How cool.
Yeah.
Because I directed a documentary series called The Big Day for Netflix, which had a queer wedding, I'm proud to say, and props to Netflix and our producers, Condé Nast, for pushing that through.
Yeah.
But over there, the wedding was Daniel and Tyrone, who are both Bombay boys. And the first obstacle, Tyrone came from Goa and wanted to get married at the family church, but they were like, no chance.
Yeah.
So their first obstacle was a venue. Eventually, they did find like a young progressive pundit to do it, but they had to do it at a venue which wasn't their first choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So y'all were lucky.
Yeah.
And it's
absolutely.
also a effing gorgeous venue.
It is. It
Yes.
was a lovely.
And it looked beautiful. Okay, more stupid questions. How did the family react? How did your loved ones react?
Both our families were happy. I mean,
Yeah.
Rupa's
with coming
mom-
out or with the wedding?
No, with the wedding.
Wedding. Yeah, they were like, my mom was over the moon. I lost my father 3 years ago, but
sorry.
thankfully he met Anuja, which
Oh,
I'm
lovely.
happy.
he
And
probably would have been a crying, sweet mess.
he would have been a crying mess for
Aw.
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And your folks?
My parents were very happy, and they were
Thank
excited.
God.
So that's the thing, right? When we were planning all of these things, there was a lot of anxiety. Like
Yeah.
I was breaking into hives almost like every week. And the anxiety was that when this actually happens, what the older generation's reaction is going to be, right? I mean, yes, they're invited and they're coming. Are they coming because they're like, oh, we will not see another lesbian wedding in our lifetime? Or
Are they coming out of obligation to my parents,
as
her
a-
parents who are inviting them?
Yeah, or they're actually here to like celebrate and see what that means. And we were pleasantly surprised.
No, I think it was actually really lovely. I think
Yeah.
they themselves, they came with an open mind, definitely. But I think in that moment, they genuinely felt the love around in a way that they've probably never seen before. And all of them were so deeply touched. And
Oh,
they were
gorgeous.
Yeah.
they just showered us with so much love and kindness in those moments that you could see that there was some shift within them. And that the generation that they came from, the thought process that they came from, none of that mattered. What mattered was what was happening then and there.
How amazing, guys.
Yeah, and her side of family who had never met me, just they were all crying, they were hugging, we love you, you have to like now your family, and it was all like, I mean, this is a common reaction for everyone else in general.
Yes.
So that's why it was comfortable. I was like, okay, we were expecting much worse. And this is very refreshing. This is how usually we have like growing up seen families react
Yeah.
at weddings. And
They were doing it all.
Yeah, they were doing it all.
Because it is so universal, and I wish, I mean, the whole same-sex marriage debate is going on right now as we speak in our country. I wish they would understand that the universality of the love and the commitment. I mean, celebrate that. I understand it's going to bring a lot of other things into question.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
let's keep hoping.
I think that's a topic of its own for hours of
Yeah.
debate.
Podcasting.
Podcasting,
Yes. Yeah. Quick questions. Don't kill me. Was there a bride?
No, absolutely not. What was very important to us, so our wedding went over 3 days. And
Big fat Indian wedding.
big fat Indian wedding, yes. Because we deserve it. All of us deserve it. Everyone deserves it.
Great.
But it was very important for us, and we brought on board a amazing stylist, Mr. Akshay Tyagi, to
You
help
both
us.
looked super chic.
Yeah, that's between Akshay and Rupa. I think together.
Yeah. Akshay knows how many meltdowns Anuja had.
Yes, and Rupa knows how she's had to deal with those meltdowns.
I mean, the thing is, I didn't know Rupa before, so you were just new to me in terms of to my eyes. But I've seen you, and to suddenly see you with that jewelry on your head and everything, and this, was it a suit or a Nehru jacket?
It was a suit, yes.
Was gorgeous.
Yeah, so I mean, the idea was that at each event, each of us would carry, either she would be more
Androgynous.
androgynous and I would be more feminine, and then the next day we would swap it up.
Wow.
So that nobody at any point could put us in either of the
Label
gender
as-
roles or any of the boxes. And that was kind of how we got through the 3 days of
Like we'll just
swapping
keep you
through.
guys confused, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Who's
the one,
bride?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like who's the man and who's the woman? I was like,
Yeah.
you will never know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so big gay sigh. It sounds super romantic. It sounds just gorgeous. And of course, yours was a private ceremony without any legal schmeagle. But it's not the same out there. So I just wanted to look at some facts about the state of same-sex marriages in
Yeah.
India. India does not recognize registered marriage or civil unions for same-sex couples, though same-sex couples can attain rights and benefits as a live-in couple, as per a Supreme Court judgment in August 2022. This is for all the queers out there who
Yeah.
are thinking. India does not possess a unified marriage law, and as such, every citizen has the right to choose which law will apply to them based on their community or religion. Although marriage is legislated at the federal level, the existence of multiple marriage laws complicates the whole thing. So these are the Indian Christian Marriage Act of 1872. The Special Marriage Act, which is a big one, of 1954, which applies to all Indians irrespective of your religion. So here, partners contracted under this act are registered with the state as a civil contract. And this is often used by interfaith marriages and special cases, which is why I think currently
They're trying to put us.
they're trying to
Special Marriage Act,
to put all the queers under the Special Marriage Act, because that's probably the most liberal and open to interpretation and
Exactly.
and combination or whatever. There is the Hindu Marriage Act for all Hindus. There's the Parsi Marriage and Divorce Act, marriage and divorce in one sentence. Anand Marriage Act for the Sikhs, the Muslim Personal Law, the Shariat Application Act, which of course deals with marriage, succession and inheritance amongst Muslims. So there's a bunch of federal level acts that can be chosen, though none really strictly refer to same-sex marriages. State and territory laws further complicate the matter because the states and union territories have their own laws with regards to the registration of marriages and marriages contracted under indigenous customs and rights. So basically, I could pretend to be a blind tribal man who's marrying another man and get away with it, probably. However, as we know, same-sex marriages have existed. They've been conducted privately, even by Hindu pundits for ages.
Yep.
Perhaps we know since the 80s, there have been odd stories of two women in small towns running away together. There was the two police women in central India in 1987, which was quite a big case. In July 2020, a lesbian couple from Mahisagar district in Gujarat filed a petition with the Gujarat High Court seeking police protection from families and recognition of their right to cohabitation, right? Do you know about this one?
Yes.
I've heard of this.
Oh, great. So all this came up in your research.
I mean, I think in the course of time, we've read
Yeah.
it somewhere or by virtue of being a queer person in India.
Right.
This is a part of our history.
So this couple entered a friendship agreement which was called Maitri Karar as a way to legitimize the relationship. Like in case of a marital union, it had details on property ownership, inheritance, and maintenance in case of separation. The High Court granted their petition and ordered the Mahisagar police to give protection to the couple. The first Maitri Karar between a same-sex couple is believed to have occurred in 1987 in Chota Udaipur district. And there's a similar custom in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, which is called Nata Pratha. So there have been little loopholes and little kind of options. Yes, they're halfway measures. It's not full legal sanctified, but still. Unfortunately, there have also been an equal number of suicides, especially amongst women who have reportedly turned to suicide because their families were against the idea. And like you mentioned, her earlier author, Ruth Vanita, argued that many marriages can be considered legally valid under the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955. Any marriage between two Hindus performed according to the customs prevalent in the community of one or the two partners is legally valid. You don't need a license because most heterosexual Hindu marriages in India are anyway performed just by religious rites without marriage licenses, and they're not registered with the state, right?
And that's exactly why it was important for us to have the Hindu ritual of the Saptapadi as a part of our ceremony, is for this precise reason.
Right.
So
In case if law changes or if we can go
There's-
back and register our marriage or whatever, we have done the steps that actually in the Hindu marriage like considers you legally
Which
married.
allow you to go to Hindu
Yeah.
heaven.
Exactly. That too.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So if literally interpreted, the terms groom and bride are obviously narrow definitions based on gender, male and female, and that's where I think all the
Yeah.
confusion is coming in. On day one of the whole hearing about the same-sex marriage issues, you could see that the defendants or the defendants or the opposition, the stupid ones. They were like, but man is man,
Yes.
woman is woman, and that was called into question by
Yeah.
our progressive CJI, Chandrachud.
Mr. Chandrachud.
Hurrah. Yes.
Hurrah to him.
Okay, so let's take a break and play a small word association game. So I basically throw a word at you and you respond with the first thing that comes to your mind, right? Honeymoon.
Spain.
Ooh, did that happen?
Nope. My answer was pending, but
Okay. Anuja, cooking versus washing?
washing.
Cooking for me.
Dowry or gifting as it's now called?
She got a dog, I got a cat. Those were our respective animals.
Oh, amazing.
That was the dowry we got.
Amazing. Monogamy.
This is a hard one.
Silence.
No, not really. Yeah.
No, if it's private, it's
I
private.
mean, no, monogamy is, so the thing is, sorry, I don't think, it's not a one word answer, but monogamy, yes, but I always don't never say never.
Yeah, I agree. Please be open and evolved and whatever.
Yeah, you don't know what life throws at
So,
you.
I thought monogamy was all that important, but I think my views on it have changed over the years because we're highly complex beings.
Right.
And
In 4 months of getting married, they have forgotten how to
7
spell
years of
monogamy.
being together.
After 7 years. So there's a whole 7-year itch that you all overcame, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it is then.
But I think the lesbians are really good at relationships and keeping together and committing and
That's what I
cat
thought.
raising and
But a lot of couples we have seen are like in an open marriage or open to like explore and all of that. Thing is, we don't know we are there yet or not.
right.
Yeah.
Because we are very happy with each other, and I think
Touch wood.
it always adds little more complications when it opens up. Like open marriage is not about cheating; it's also about communication. Like you're not
Right.
only communicating with one partner; you have to communicate with other people.
Yes, of course.
Like we are already like struggling to communicate with us and each other as openly as we can. Like we just about like getting it right.
Yeah.
To
So I think monogamy is what I believe in for myself right now. But that's for me in my relationship. Everyone else, you can define your relationship in whatever way or form. And there should be no judgment in that
Yeah.
towards others. If they can make an open relationship work and that's what they believe in, good for them.
Yeah.
All relationships are hard.
And marriage, commitment, love are one basket.
Yeah.
Sex perhaps is another little basket which doesn't
that's
have
all-
to
Yeah.
necessarily
Yeah.
be in the same
Exactly.
pool.
Exactly. So, I mean, you make your relationship work in whatever way works for you.
Sex after marriage.
same.
Oh, well done. Well done. That's a very progressive answer.
Yeah.
Not that, oh, con, we don't remember. That finishes
no,
the
it's-
day you get married.
No.
Which is what the heterosexuals say.
No. It's
No time.
no
Ti-
time is a separate problem, but that was also there before.
Right.
But
time
no
is a
different.
problem.
I wouldn't say any different.
Has it gotten more intimate and more... Does it
I
go to a
don't-
different level?
I don't think so.
It, I would say, I mean, I don't know how much should I be saying.
Yeah.
Be
No,
fair.
say. It's a safe
No, it's
space.
not. Yeah. I mean, it's
I
not
doubt
about
we have
it.
more than 5 viewers, listeners. So spill it all.
No, I mean, it's quirky. You experiment, and it's not. It has not. I don't think anything is like before marriage or after marriage
Right.
has changed.
Yeah.
It is still the same. There are vanilla sex also, and then there are like exploratory ones also, and we enjoy both.
Amazing.
Sometimes when you are exhausted,
No, I'm
you
feeling
do
embarrassed, so I'm
vanilla.
moving
If as a
on.
queer person
I'm
you
feeling
haven't
shy.
had sex before marriage, then there's a problem.
There's a problem, yeah.
We gotta-
Houston, we have a problem.
You
Yeah.
have to test the goods.
Yeah. So, of course, while striking down Section 377 helped greatly in the
Yeah.
whole decriminalization and recognizing, it didn't do the same for our right to marry.
Right.
So I'm going to use some excerpts from the very inspiring and awesomely queer senior advocate at the Supreme Court of India, Menaka Guruswamy, and you have to see her deliver it. Did you all see her
Yes, we
video?
did that. Yeah, we
Oh my God, I felt like a little lesbian myself when I was watching her. So she says, and I quote, "That bundle of rights, who do I leave my home to? Who do I nominate for life insurance? Who do I have as a co-signer on a lease? Can I buy my partner medical insurance? No, I cannot. Can I open a joint account? Can I avoid paying estate taxes if I leave my little home to her?" And the second part, we are in a marriage country. I am in a relationship with my partner, but what name do I give this relationship? We are not a country that recognizes girlfriends, boyfriends, or dating. We are a country that sanctifies one kind of relationship, and that is marriage. So having someone to love that the law recognizes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I fully agree with this because these are actually these are the roadblocks that Rupa and me have in our relationship, and this is the constant struggle that we are facing is inheritance, insurance, applying something as simple as applying for a visa as spouses. We can't do stuff like that. Like there's so many small roadblocks that people don't understand that get automatically lifted with marriage rights. I don't want the right to marry her, but I want to marry her because then all of this other legal stuff comes into
with
play.
it. Yes, yes.
It's a lot larger than just marriage.
Yeah,
So-
because we have to like jump hoops all the time for every like small things that heterosexual couples
just take for granted.
Yeah, they
and
just
are very
get it,
much
they have
part
it.
of the reason why a lot of people in our country get married, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, literally all of us are just struggling in this world of trying to figure out the jugaad of how do you make life happen with each other.
Okay, so how does this work in reality? Bank account separate?
We now have a joint bank account.
Or because you'll also have a company together? Or
No,
a
no, no,
business
no,
together?
no. So,
not a business account, but
there are a bunch of international banks that allow two people two friends, so to speak, in air quotes, to open a joint bank account.
Okay.
More
International
recent-
banks.
International bank account. More recently, through the work of Harish Iyer, Axis Bank has allowed for people to hold
Same
joint
sex.
accounts. Exactly.
Yeah.
So thanks to that, we have a joint bank account. Work, of course, is separate, but
Right.
that's one hurdle we've overcome.
Right. Insurance?
no, independent.
Trying to figure that out.
Kids?
Very complex thought. So, I mean, I think where we are today, we're not sure whether or
Right.
not we want kids.
Yeah.
We're very happy with our four-legged kids.
Yeah.
But we're not saying that we don't in the future. We're keeping the idea open. But then again, here's the complexity of it. Until we have marriage rights, we would be, either one of us, whoever carries, will be a single parent, so to speak, on paper.
Right.
And you put the other one down as guardian.
Right.
And what that does is it creates a
Inequality.
inequality in your
Within the-
relationship. And no matter how much you work at it, one partner is always left feeling inferior.
Yeah.
And it weighs on your mind.
Of
Don't tell
course.
me, no matter how many conversations you have, it's very difficult.
And also raising a child in a country
Yeah,
where
without
you're-
any of this legal
Exactly.
support. and-
legal support, then we are just complicating not only our lives, bringing another life and complicating that child's life, right? Because for schools, for other things, I mean, for so many things that we would need that legal support that
Yeah, I
other
mean-
parents get.
Yeah,
Our
school
nephew-
admission for a
yeah.
start.
Our nephew got this in school. He was asked, he was like, you have two aunts that are together, and God bless his heart, it's so ingrained in him. He was just like, huh? Okay. And then he just like left that kid and walked off.
Oh,
and I was
thank
like,
God.
wow, I don't know what we've done right here, like as aunts and what his parents have done right. But that kid never gave it a second thought of it being wrong, right? Why is he asking the question? He was just like, whatever.
Because in his lived experience,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
seen two wonderful women who, his aunts who are
Yeah.
together.
And he's in a
doesn't
very
question-
progressive school now. Imagine we come from a very privileged
Yeah.
part of society, but this is always going to exist there as well. And no matter how much you equip a child, what is a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, how much can they defend themselves?
Yeah.
Not to say bigotry doesn't exist everywhere in the world, but
Of
I mean, these are
course.
things you think about.
Yeah. Wow. So it's a complicated question about children. I get it. I
Yeah.
totally respect that. And I can understand why. I mean, I have a single parent friend who separated from the father of the child, and they were never married. So I'm the father in some schools. Like I had to go as the
Yeah.
father and show face, because she was like, they will not accept just me, and he won't get admission into some schools because
Absolutely.
there is no father, which is really sad. Yeah.
No, we've had that. My family runs a chain of schools in Bombay. And unfortunately, on paper, you have to show mother and father.
Yeah.
And one day, a trans person walked right in saying, I want admission to the school. And obviously, it was no questions asked policy. It was not about, the question only was, okay, now how are we going to figure out all of this on paperwork? Unfortunately, she was M to F, but she was presented as the father on all paperwork for the school. And she knew it. She was just like, unfortunately, this is my reality and I want to be involved in my child's school. So this is the personal sacrifice I'm going to have to make for the betterment of my
To
child.
deny my own identity.
Yeah, I mean, no, she comes, she's referred to as she appears as she, but on all paperwork, it's father.
Wow.
Yeah,
You know, we don't even think of these things till you get to that stage.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to finish that off, in terms of the legal journey, on March 13th, Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, God bless his soul,
Really.
referred petitions to legally recognize same-sex marriages to a constitution bench of 5 judges of the Supreme Court, which started on April 18th. The government at the centre has opposed this, saying it would cause complete havoc with the delicate balance of personal laws and accepted societal values. Then there has been an amazing response from a gaggle of 21 ex-High Court judges. Thank God X is the operative word here, including the Chief Justices of some states. Chief Justices. So I'm going to reproduce their thoughts and I want you to respond to them, okay? In a kindly manner. Legalizing same-sex marriages will have devastating impact on the society. It might lead to an exponential rise in the number of HIV affected.
Yeah, because we are actually waiting for that marriage certificate to have sex to then spread it.
To infect. And
To
we are, of
infect.
course, born with HIV.
Correct,
all
correct.
of us.
Yeah, all of us.
Amazing.
I mean,
It's
this
an
also
inbuilt
undermines
virus
all
that
of the
turns
work.
us gay.
Then a second one. Mindless attempts to ape the practices of West in India, especially by legalizing same-sex marriage, would prove to be a death knell to the already crumbling family system. The cancerous problem of the West that the West is facing are sought to be imported into Bharat by vested interest groups. What is this West and cancer? And
Yeah, because there is a separate funding going on for elitist queers in India to promote all the Western ideas.
and kill Indian tradition.
Correct.
And kill Indian tradition.
Yeah, and then once we do destroy all of this, we'll all move to the US for a second level of discrimination.
God. Okay, I'm hoping people are getting this. That this
I
is,
hope so.
Yeah,
I hope
really,
so.
I understand the humor.
Yeah, I hope they're.
I
not
hope they're
thinking
getting
that
the
we are-
humor.
yeah. Then third, in the long run, there are serious concerns that the gene pool is also going to be weakened, affecting the entire human race, especially in terms of collective herd immunity and progressive evolution. I couldn't
Yeah.
even understand.
I
this
couldn't even
one.
understand. So are you saying that suddenly Rupa and me are gonna have sex and there's gonna be immaculate conception?
Yeah,
And that's going to dilute the gene pool? Because how am I passing this gene on to anyone?
yeah. Your defective genes.
Because science
Adoption
still
is-
remains science. It's not like court will change it and suddenly 2 men can start producing babies and 2 women will start producing
I think the
babies.
implication is that if you're queer, you have defective genes.
I get it,
And
but I'm
you're
going
going
to
to
die.
pass that on.
But how?
But
Secondly-
heterosexuals are passing that gene. We are coming out of
Yeah,
heterosexual
exactly.
couples.
Thank you.
Well said, Rupa. Well said, yeah. So we're reaching the end of our amazing chat, and there's just one little thing that I want to play a little bit of devil's advocate for, because you all are extremely articulate and eloquent women. So, of course, I am in favor of marriage for the queers, and I would love to have my own version of a wedding, bringing my family and friends together and celebrating and commemorating, legalizing, and getting lots of gifts. But we are queer, why are we subscribing to the oldest heteronormative institution possible?
Because I can say this point, because for the longest time
That was you.
that was me, because I didn't want to sign up to this heterosexual way of like marriage and everything. Only after living with Anuja I realized that the whole marriage as a legal entity, as a legal procedure, that gives us a lot of other rights and acceptance and like comfort in our relationship.
Well said.
Because heterosexuals can say that, oh, we are in love and that's why we are getting married.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the end of the day, if you sit with each other and actually realize that with your marriage, your relationship has become so much more easier,
Yeah.
because we are not only navigating our emotions and our boundaries, we are navigating like legal parts of it, day-to-day things. Every small thing has a hurdle that we need to cross, and it's a lot of pressure on the relationship itself. So if another relationship is celebrated and said that, okay, now you just deal with your boundaries and other things, and
Yeah.
everything else government is taking care of as a citizen of the country, and they are getting those rights,
Correct.
then how are we any different? We are still the citizen of the country.
Yes.
We are in love. Then how is our love that needs to like justify all of these things
Yeah,
to
really.
have the comfort? Like, because apart from this, because it's a same sex, same person, whatever definition we want to put it, these are two human beings who are in love, and here we are all trying to create like as many hurdles as possible for that relationship to fail. It's no longer just our responsibility.
No, I totally get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
why are we subscribing to this institution that even the heterosexuals are saying is a failing institution?
Okay, then take it away from them and let's see what happens to the rest of the country. You get it?
Ooh, well said, well said. Yeah, but I wish they'd keep all this in mind, but I guess they can't.
Yeah,
They
because
don't have
it's easy to argue that, saying that, oh, you know what, I don't want it, but sorry, I have it. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
I mean, you only know what you have when it's taken away from you.
Yeah.
Anuja and Rupa, thank you so
Thank-
much. As I hoped, you all have been like the perfect guests for this episode. A very important subject that we are working, and I think you both expressed it so beautifully. I think you brought like a reality to this whole sort of intellectual debate, cerebral sort of debate that everyone is having right now. So I think that's lovely. Thank you for sharing your story and for taking the time to come in despite the lack of a posh hamper or a wedding gift. But maybe I could babysit your doggies, as I also have a rescue. So maybe we can have a doggy date soon, child date soon.
Sure.
By all means.
By all means, it's
Thank
fun.
you so much for having us. This
Yes.
was really fun.
No,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank you for coming all the way. And I hope the coffee was good at least.
It was perfect.
You were listening to The Queer Podcast, hosted by Ashish Soni. Produced by Audiomatic. Producers for Audiomatic, Akanksha Kadam and Avdoot Khanolkar. Assistant producer, Nitesh Zuvare. Original title track by Srijit Vijay. Sound design, mix and master by Team Audiomatic. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guest and do not reflect the policy or position of any organization, entity, or platform. This podcast is not intended to harm, defame, or offend any individual, group, or organization, and any references made to persons, living or deceased, are purely coincidental and not intended to be taken as factual statements. Listener discretion is advised.